Last time you made some sound on your instrument. Remember, here's your instrument. We're going to put together the rest of the instrument today. So double check. This is the first thing that you should have done today. Your reed is wet. Your reed is on correctly. The ligature is down there. The screws are off to the right. Remember, this is my right. That's your right too. Okay. Now, once this part is done, you're actually going to set it down for a minute because the other parts we're going to put together separately. This is much easier to handle if this is, well, it's kind of like a handle. So we're going to set this off to the side carefully. And let's go over the parts very, very briefly again. We've got the bell, ding, ding. We've got the lower joint with one cork. And we've got the upper joint with 2 corks. Now you're going to pause this video right now so that you can make things go faster here in a moment. And you're going to take your cork grease out and you're going to put cork grease on those 3 corks. So let's go over this. This is my lower joint. I have it upside down. Remember, this will eventually go like this. I have it upside down. I'm going to put cork grease on. Remember, if you can see any, this is a bad example, that needs to be rubbed in. Okay, so rub it in. You might have to put more on. I do. Okay, so the cork should be kind of shiny. Again, my corks are kind of old because my clarinet is old. Yours is going to take a little bit of muscle here in a minute, and that's perfectly normal. If yours is more like mine and somebody else has used it, you might not have as much difficulty. Good for you. Okay, so pause the video. Do your cork grease. Okay, so hopefully you've paused the video and all your cork grease is on all 3 parts. Okay, all 3 parts. We're going to start with the bell and the lower joint. Now the way I do this, you don't have to be exactly like me, but similar would help. I'm going to hold the bell in my right hand and I'm going to hold the lower joint in my left hand. Now, I almost forgot something. I got to point some things out because this will make sense when you start putting together. So on your clarinet, you have keys. Okay. Sometimes your keys have holes in the center of them. Sometimes they're filled in. Sometimes they're funny shaped. Okay. These long parts are called the rods. The rods have a piece of metal inside them that allow your keys to move up and down. And then the tiny little things under there are called springs. And sometimes springs jump out. And when they do, you just come up and ask me. I usually have a little spring hook and I can put them back into their spot and then you're good to go. Okay? Rods can bend. Springs can bend and break. Keys can even bend. So we've got to try to put this together without bending too many things. So here's what I do. This is the back of the clarinet without much on it. I put my palm back there and wrap my fingers around the front, and then I hold on over the keys. Okay, like this. Remember, cork's going down. This is my left hand. In my right hand, I'm going to twist this on. Now, again, if your instrument is new, it's not going to twist on that easily. It's going to take some like, So that's why I don't want my hands to be like this, because then I'm bending all these keys, and then later on you're going to say, my instrument doesn't work. And I'll say that's because all your keys are bent. So I keep my hand out of the way, and I twist on. So put some muscle into it. Don't be wimpy here. Go ahead and put some muscle into it. Twist and push at the same time. If somebody around you seems to be really good, maybe you ask them politely for help. That's perfectly fine to ask for help. If nobody can get it, I'm sure I can. I've done this a while. So push that on. And then this, it doesn't matter what how it looks. I've got a little marking on my clarinet that you can barely see. If you want that in line with your rod just to make it look pretty, great. If you don't care, then I don't care either, because this part, it doesn't matter. Okay? The next part will. So I've got the front of my clarinet facing away from me, just so you get an idea of what the front looks like, and the back hardly has anything on it. Okay, here's the front of my clarinet. Now on this piece, before I go to the next one, I need to find something called the bridge key. And you can see these sticky outy keys. That's a technical term, sticky outy keys. And over here, I have a bridge, okay? So on my bridge, and I just realized, oh, I'll just leave that on there for now. On my bridge, I need to know where this is because I've got to connect the other part of my clarinet here. So let me show you. On the other part, so this is the upper joint. Now this has two corks, so I got to decide which one's down and which one's up. Well, on mine there's a sign up here, or I'm sorry, a brand name that's at the top. You'll also notice that at the bottom there's a key that swoops out. Okay, so that swoop out will tell you that that's the bottom. And then I'm going to set this down here. I have to find the other part of the bridge on this part of the clarinet. I'm going to turn it this way, and here is what's called my bridge key. Okay, so I've got these sticky outy keys, I've got the swoop key, and then right underneath there is a bridge. And you see when I wiggle it, oh, it actually wiggles a key up here. Okay, so I wiggle this, wiggle, 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 and I need to know that this wiggles in and out because when I put my clarinet together, this needs to be in an out position. See, that needs to be like that. So I'm going to press this key up here to make sure that this is in the out position, and I'm going to connect this bridge to the other bridge. Okay, so there's my other part of the bridge. All right, there's the front of my clarinet. So let's see if I can connect these together. All right, so I've got keys, the front of this part of clarinet to the front of the other part. And again, mine goes together pretty easily. You're going to have to twist and pull and push and all sorts of things. Now the thing about the bridge is that it actually needs to be perfectly in line. So once I have those together, right under there, they have to be perfectly in line. If they are slightly off, like say I did this instead, some of my notes won't play. So I have to line this back up. That's one of the first things I'll check. If you say, my instrument doesn't work, I'll say, is your bridge key lined up? And I'll check it. Sometimes it's hard to get it exactly. Some clarinets have a little notch to make it easier. That's awesome. I kind of wish I had one of those. Okay, by the way, you can ignore this. I had this added to my clarinet. I can explain some other day, but you will not have this little loop here. So if you're puzzled as to why that's there, I had that special on my clarinet. Okay, so there's my bridge key. And think about why did I move the bridge key up when I put my clarinet together? Well, if I didn't, say I left it down and I tried to put these two things together, I'm going to do this very carefully, they're gonna run into each other a little bit. You see that? They're right about ready to run into each other. That will bend your keys, and then you'll say, I have a bent key. And then it has to go in and get fixed, and that's boring. Like when you don't have an instrument to play in band class, it's boring. So don't bend your bridge key. Make sure that that bridge key goes in the up position. I'm pressing the key up here. There it is. And I twist. There we go. And then I make sure it's lined up. This is hard for trying to do this in the video. Okay. And I've got it lined up. Okay. Yay. So I'll back up here. So now I've got my clarinet, the body part of it all put together. And the keys face away from me. Okay. The back of the clarinet is pretty boring. There's not much going on. There's a little bit of keys. There's a spot you're going to put your thumb. But that's kind of the boring part that goes back to you. So the exciting part, the keys, all in the front. Okay, now we are going to put on the other part. We're going to have an entire clarinet. Pretty simple, really. Corks should be greased because you did that before. Here's the part that people goof up. The reed has to be in line with the boring part of your instrument. Okay, the back. The reed lines up with the back. So if you're not sure which is the front or the back, there's only this long key here and an opening. That's the back of your clarinet. Your reed should line right up with it. Okay, double check the ears looks just like mine. And then when you turn it around, there you go. Okay, mine is just a little bit off. All right, now we're gonna now that it's all together, we're gonna just make a sound on the clarinet. Don't worry about where the fingers go yet, because that's gonna be the next video. Here's what you need to do. Grab the top of your clarinet where there are no keys with your left hand, okay, left hand, because this is actually how you're gonna play. Well, not quite like this, but your left hand will be on top eventually anyway. And if you want a little more stability, you could grab this with the right hand on the bottom, but I'm not going to worry about that because I've got a pretty good grip right here. All right, now, notice I just did that to my reed because it dried out a little bit while I was talking. So I'm going to grip it here, and I'm going to do the same thing. Teeth, bottom lip is flat, and you feel around. Okay, and when you play this, that's the sound that should come out. It should match mine exactly. Okay, so remember the angle of the clarinet. You don't want it too close. You don't want it too far. You want it about 45 degrees. Okay, and notice that my head, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this, but my head is up, okay? When I play, you can even see my dimples. So check all that out, and now you're gonna practice making sounds with just the body, okay? Don't press any keys yet, because don't get yourself into any bad habits, okay? So repeat after me. Go ahead and play your sound. Do you think they matched? Listen to mine again. Go ahead. Now, did you start yours with the T sound? Did you really? Are you sure? So double check that. Our exercise from before. Okay, so if you can do that, now that you've got your whole clarinet together, you are really well on your way. If you're not making the right sounds yet, did you notice I said the word yet? Remember, this is very, very different. You don't normally walk around the world going, so this might be a little uncomfortable for you, a little awkward, perfectly fine, perfectly normal. But we need to get you to the point where it's comfortable for you, and then you can make the sound consistently every single time. So practice that on your own with the whole body, and then our next lesson I'm going to show you where to put your fingers, and you need to do it exactly like me. And then I'm going to show you in that same video how to play hot cross buns. All right, see you in the next round.